Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Katie Petrick, joined by Dr. Jake Jacobs. It's Monday. I don't know what's going on over there, but we are live here on Rumble for Educated, and Jake is, he forgot we're not on vacation anymore. Anyway, if you would, please make sure you're following us at rumble.com/Freedom Project. It will allow you to keep up with all of our daily content. So, the federal government. Yay. It has been controlling public schools since, 1980. I don't know what happened in that year, but Donald Trump, says that under his presidency, this next one, it'll be one of the first things to change. Will it, Dr. Jake Jacobs?
Well, I got to tell you what. Here we are in Appleton, Wisconsin, and the story originates in Appleton, Wisconsin. But before we go there, I want to talk about the Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre, three-time MVP Brett Favre of the Super Bowl-winning Green Bay Packers. In 2 days, Brett Favre is going to be hanging out with Donald Trump, the next president of the United States of America. Now, speaking of President Trump responded to a young Appleton, Wisconsin man whose autism limits the scope of his schools he's allowed to attend. Trump declared this when he was asked this question: "It's all about school choice. We're going to get out of Washington and let the states run education." Let's take a quick listen to President Trump's wonderful understanding of school choice and local state control with education.
I am Anthony from Appleton, Wisconsin. I have high-functioning autism, but my autism means I am only allowed to go to public schools that teach things and promote things against my values and faith. This makes life hard and confusing. When you become president, what can you and JD Vance do to help other students like me to have a choice of schools?
School choice.
Well, thank you very much. And it's all about school choice. That's one of the biggest things on my platform. It's about school choice, and it's also, we're going to get it out of Washington. If you look at our schools, we spend more per pupil than any other country. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, I hate to say this, China, can you believe? Top 5. They have great school programs. We are number 40. Which is sort of like at the bottom of the list. We spend more per pupil than we're moving it all out of Washington, and we're going to let the states run the schools. So you give the schools to Iowa, they're going to be another Norway. It's going to be great. You give them to so many different states. Indiana, they're dying to do it. They can do it for less than half, and you will have those states competing with the best.
Get rid of the Department of Education.
Going to go. Right. And every building in Washington, you go by Department of Education. I'm going to have one person working there, maybe with a secretary. I don't mean a secretary.
You want it all to be local now.
Stenographer. Because we want to make sure they're teaching English, right? Let's say reading, writing, and arithmetic.
None of the...
Oh, I love it, man. I'll tell you what, even if he did half of what he says he's going to do, that's a long way. This Department of Education, with the corruption of the unions, has destroyed government education going back. I was in college when this whole fiasco started. So local, I would go even beyond state capital control and have it local community control. So I love it.
Everyone can start hating me now.
No.
Yep. Bring on the hate, because I'm about to burst their bubbles. Trump's not going to do it. He was president already, and he did what during that time for education? That's my concern. I love the concept. It should be reading, writing, arithmetic. It should be local control. Indiana, apparently he says people are dying to do it, and I don't want Iowa to look like Norway, but okay, I get what he's going with. but he hasn't done anything while he could have done things. That's
Katie,
my concern.
And I'll tell you what, I couldn't, well, let me put it this way. First of all, people are not going to not love you, because people do love you, all right? Because you do a phenomenal job. Secondly, you bring up truth. You are actually speaking the truth. He didn't do it in the first term. Now, there were some things he did that no president ever did, as far as like moving the embassy to Jerusalem and Israel. He did some amazing things.
True. Yeah.
President Reagan said he was going to do that with the Department of Education. But this is, when he wins, he's got one term, he's got nothing else to lose, and I really believe he is going to shake it up. Now, you notice I started and quickly said if he gets half of that done.
Yes. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I fully understand that he can't work miracles. He definitely is not a miracle worker, but he's moved. I think especially with COVID, we may have moved the needle enough for parents and people to wake up and be like, yes, we do need to get rid of the Department of Education, because look what our schools have been. That's the difference between when he was president and then not president, and then now he's trying to become president again. It's not just him, though. I mean, it's the whole, the swamp and everything. It's not just him. He can say that, and he's running for office. It would be great if, Congress was made up of individuals who also were like-minded and at least allowed for school choice, so that young man in Appleton could actually go to a school where his family's beliefs could be held. But no, just because he has high-functioning autism, he has to just go to public school.
Yes, and by the way, you're spot on again, because you mentioned Congress, and a lot of times we have a do-nothing, spineless Congress that doesn't actually utilize their constitutional powers. But one man can still make a profound difference. One man or one woman can make a profound difference. He could appoint people within that department, like I hope he appoints Robert Kennedy into the health department, etc. He can make a difference. I understand your skepticism that maybe this is a political ploy, but I really believe in his heart of hearts he really wants to break it down into local and state control, and we can only hope that happens.
Now, it would be interesting, let's just pretend that he doesn't abolish the department, but who is his secretary going to be?
Right.
Like a Victor Davis Hanson.
Oh my God, it'd be wonderful.
I mean, Jordan Peterson's busy and he's Canadian, so that wouldn't work
Christopher
out.
Rufo.
Maybe,
no?
yeah.
I mean, American cultural.
But I'm thinking someone like a Victor. I don't know why my brain went to Victor Davis Hanson.
Okay, well, one of my favorites.
Just because of his,
yeah.
I mean, actually being in schools. And again, if Peterson was a U.S. citizen.
By the way, I think another important point is he has to deal with the administrative bureaucratic state, which is an integral part of the deep state. I think there's somewhere in the thousands, maybe up to almost 5,000 within the Department of Education. It's somewhere in that department.
It's getting close.
So you have to deal with that, and these are entrenched lifers, and they're not going to give up that money and power easily.
And the unions.
And the unions,
all
of course.
That's entrenched there. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on there. Now, before we go to our next story, I see Mark is here now. Mark, thank you for bringing a note for his absence. He was late. Thank you for your mom to writing the note. Ellie Klotz also, hi. How's it going? All right, well, let's go on to someone who's talking about college education, and you know what? We don't necessarily need it. So if at the K-12 level, we can get Donald Trump and or whoever to make it so that it's not at the control of the federal government and the parents actually have a say and local authorities have a say, that'd be great. Now, at the university level, maybe you just don't even need it. Because if you're getting that education at the K-12, do you even need to go on to college these days? Elon Musk doesn't seem to think so. The world's wealthiest man and one of society's more influential entrepreneurs, the Elon Musk, has spoken on this topic. Of course, universities don't want to hear it. Why would they? But the rest of us are all about what he has to say on the topic of college degrees. Take a look.
I also think that the value of a college education is somewhat overweighted, and I think it's too many people actually spend 4 years, accumulate a ton of debt, and then often don't have useful skills that they can apply afterwards. And I think I have a lot of respect for people who work with their hands, and we need electricians and plumbers and carpenters, and that's a lot more important than having incremental political science majors. I think, so I think we should just not have this idea that to be successful you need to have a 4-year college. That is simply not true.
He's spot on.
Whoa.
Spot on, man. I love it.
Whoa. A man worth $242 billion is speaking to you and I, the common sense.
Yep.
That's something we can all share. We may not have his dollars, but we can have his sense. So it's fascinating how he said it, the way he said it, because he took a little dig at my major. Yes, I'm a poli-sci major, and I 100% agree with him. We don't need more of me out there. Definitely not.
Well, in a
but
certain way we
poli-sci
do.
degrees, I learned a lot, but then again, that was not in this day and age of taking those courses too. So it's a little different in terms of the education. But yeah, college education is somewhat overweighted.
Oh, you know what's really ironic is you and I have degrees.
Yes,
Mine is in
yes.
history, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is what's happened in government education, the brainwashing, the indoctrination, is we're telling young people nowadays, be very careful if you're going off to a university education, because 90% of the time it's a form of brainwashing, indoctrination. Go elsewhere. Go to the technical school. Become an apprentice with some company somewhere. You'd be a lot better off, save a lot of money, and not have to deal with the crap that's out there.
Well, it just from a just basic perspective of you can go to the technical colleges and get a trade and have a skill.
In half the time.
Less than half, maybe a third of the cost. You could go to the university and be told that you're a victim, and now you should live off of the government, aka taxpayers, you and I. Which path do you want for your own son or daughter? And yes, son or daughter, those are your options. Which one do you want? Do you want your kid to be the one just being, I'm a victim, and I can't get a job, and so,
yeah.
Or, hey, mom and dad, look at the skill I've done. And if we had parents who remembered back to when their kids were little and how proud their kids were of themselves for achieving anything, like the littlest of thing, look at me, I can hop on my 1 foot now. I couldn't do that yesterday. Ooh, I've gained a skill. You want to instill that sense of pride in your kids to achieve on their own. But no, we have victim mentality, and so we send our kids off to the universities to be told every class period about how they're a victim or they are an oppressor. So you should feel bad about yourself, which I don't understand how we are living in a society that still cannot understand what's happening.
Yeah, you're right. The education system in the government-run, union-controlled schools are creating a perpetuation of these young people who feel that I'm a victim, you owe me. Instead of learning independence, they're learning dependence. Instead of learning the classic literature and the greatness of our constitutional federal republic under God, they're learning what an oppressive, horrible society we live in. And we need to turn this around. And when people like Elon Musk and others are saying, hey, there are many options out there, go for it, I love it. Absolutely.
You know what's great about that? That's exactly what is starting to happen. So we do have people listening to the likes of Elon Musk and others who are encouraging of those who do not attend the four-year universities. According to data that was released from the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center, freshman enrollment at four-year colleges has dropped by 8.5% at public universities.
Bravo.
And 6.5% at private universities this year, 2024, compared to 2023. Oh, it's almost as if we're waking up.
Well, it's not enough, but at least it's in the right direction.
It is in the correct direction, yeah. Enrollment of freshman students is declining for all income levels, by the way. It's not just, we can't afford college, or we have so much money that we don't need it. It's everyone. And middle-class freshman enrollment showing the steepest decline. So the middle class, if we can call anyone that anymore, if there is a middle class, is showing the steepest decline. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the statistics we have backing this up. So if you look at the different, basically they broke it down, fall 2023 compared to fall 2024, and then they did a basic comparison that was more of a 2-year thing, whereas fall 2022 to fall 2024, like the net change. Yeah, it's kind of interesting as to what it is. It's negative 5.8% for those who are 18, which you would think in general, you graduate high school, you go off to college. And then from the 19 and 20-year-olds, it's a negative 8.6. Now, the question is whether or not Next year, we see them finally enroll as freshmen older, because maybe they're listening to us. We've been harping about this, that you don't have to go to college immediately after high school. If you don't have any clue what you want to do with life, don't go waste money when you're 18, 19, even 20 years old, because at that time, what are you going to do? You're away from home for the first time. You party hardy. Maybe you don't have a car on campus because you live on campus.
And you're piling all that debt up. Because they make you live on campus,
and you're racking up all this debt and not being focused on what a college education was meant to be focused on. So maybe you did see an increase for those who are older coming to school, and maybe they're the ones who actually know what the heck they want to do with life.
By the way, you mentioned maybe some people are listening to us. I hope they are, and I'm proud, as I know you're proud, to be a part of Freedom Project Media, and plus you've worked for Freedom Project Academy. It's schools like that give an alternative to all the garbage that's out there that really is making a difference.
Nice little shameless plug there. We like it.
In there.
We like it. All right. Well, we've got a lot more to come here on Educated, so stay with us.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
All right, well, this next story isn't even news.
No.
It's not news. But to document yet again how entrenched the university professors are with the Democratic Party, I show you this. Overwhelming majority of college faculty plan to vote for Harris, poll says. Whoa. Yes. The college professors are voting for Kamalama Ding Dong. Did anyone, is it breaking news? We all know this. So here we are, just documenting that nearly 80% of college faculty support the Democratic presidential ticket in the upcoming election, according to an Inside Higher Ed / Hanover research survey that was recently released. What's interesting, so it's like 78% technically say yes, 7% still don't know. But who supports Trump and Vance? 8%. 8%.
That's, I think, an all-time low.
Ooh, yeah. That's, if you take a look, and it, as always, have you donated to a party group or candidate? Half of them are willing to admit it. 41% say no, and 10% don't know if they did. Maybe that's the ones who are like, when I'm part of like a teachers union type group, does that mean, do they take my money? Because that's what they do. Yeah, I'm not shocked by this. I'm shocked that it's only 80% or 78%.
Katie, every time I talk on college campuses, I'll go down to Arizona State, University of Arizona at Madison. I make a point of going to the history department and the poli-sci department, and I'll go by the professors.
By the professors?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
It's 95, 98% Democratic this, Democratic that, Obama, Biden, and now it's Kamala, of course. It is unbelievable how far left they really are.
Oh, yeah. I like to do that with the English professors as well and poli-sci.
Yeah.
So, English is 110%. They are so over the moon for anyone blue. Let's look at some statistics here. So the question was, how do your own politics compare to the dominant politics in each of the following? My politics are, and then it asks the little prompt, compared to students at my institution. So I'm a professor. Compared to students at my institution, 14% say I'm much further left. 37% say I'm somewhat further left. 33% think that I'm generally the same. Right. Only 15% say I'm somewhat further right than my students, or much further right. Didn't even register an actual number. It was so low. So I'm actually way more left. Overall, I am more left than even my students are, but that's okay by them because,
yes,
they can say what they want. Moving on, compared to the other faculty, though, at my university. wow, 8% say, well, I'm much further left, and 25% say I'm somewhat further left. So you're looking at 33% say I am much further left than my other people. I would be, and then 45% being like the same, which is to say left. Like
they're much farther left than they're even letting on.
Yeah, they're being like, yeah. And then compared to my state, do they even know where they live? I mean, did they only poll California? Like, is that
Vermont?
Like, who actually got polled on this actual question? 34% say that I'm much further left than my current state. 32% are saying I'm somewhat further left, and 25% say I'm about right where my state is. Yeah, they only interviewed people in blue states. That's what this graphic is telling us right there.
Berkeley, Madison, Brandeis.
They went to all the blue ones. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Interesting is what we could say it is. All right, well, we have one more to take a look at. We have the faculty-student interactions question. Now, the question was asked, when thinking about this fall's presidential election, do you plan to discuss the election one-on-one with students? 61% say no. Only 20% of them are going to discuss it one-on-one. Because here's the deal. One-on-one, they won't discuss it. It says 20%. But when asked if they will discuss in class, 30% say yes. This is when they stand up and be like, yes, I'm going to talk about it. 58% claim that they are not going to discuss it in class. But 13% also don't know. So those are the ones going yes.
I still don't believe it.
They might be lying a little.
Yeah.
They're claiming only like less than 4% are encouraging students to vote for a candidate party. It should be 0%, by the way. But, we'll give them the little plus or minus error. And then what's interesting, we live in America, right? We have the freedom, rights. You can vote. Only 78% of the faculty are going to encourage students to vote. Now, if that means they're not doing it because they have nothing to do with politics, they're not going to talk about it, fine, respect that. But if you're going to talk about it, the election in class, if you're one of the 30 who are going to talk about it, but then not encourage them to vote, then I have a problem with you. That's where I'm at.
That's where I'm at. I concur.
I think that's just where we're at. All right, well, we've got our Babylon Bee headlines up next to discuss, and we need you to help us pick a winner, so stay with us.
In 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. Introducing Patriot Mobile, the wireless carrier that stands with you. We are committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream.
Get free activation now with promo code EDUCATED.
All right, before we wrap things up, let's take a look at everyone's favorite satire site, the Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
We've picked our favorite headlines, and now we ask you to help us decide which one should be named Queen of the Hive. We start with number 1. Dick Cheney excitingly joins Democrat Party after hearing they get to shoot people at gun ranges. Number 2, final nail in the coffin? Former Blockbuster employee accuses Trump of failing to return VHS tape of Baby Geniuses in 1999. Number 3, Democrats explained Trump was going to be Hitler during his first term, but he forgot. Number 4, Tulsi Gabbard finally realizes she's too far attractive to be a Democrat. And finally, number 5, no jive, frustrated Democrats to consider letting voters pick the presidential candidate next time. All right, for all of our friends watching, which one did you guys like best? Katie, I'm wondering if you, any of these here trip your trigger.
Well, some of them are quite unique. Now, speaking of trigger, number 1, Dick Cheney. I was wondering when this was going to happen because I'm like, are we going to bring up Dick Cheney here?
Yeah.
Because people have in the past. Why not bring up Dick Cheney again, joining the Democrat Party after hearing they get to shoot people at gun ranges? Now, if you weren't alive during this time period, let's remember back in the day when Dick Cheney, oops, I shot someone. Whoops.
Wouldn't it be easy to actually take Cheney with Walls from Minnesota, where he can't even do his gun, shoot his gun? So that would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but then Cheney's daughter would be like, hey, Dad, come over here.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting. Well, that's an interesting one. But hey, number 2, if you're going to make a Baby Geniuses reference, I'm voting for you. Yeah, brought back Blockbuster and the VHS tape of Baby Geniuses. I just mentioned that movie to someone. I'm like, it's where these they're like baby geniuses and they're sitting around in this circle and they're like testing on them, but they had people do voices for them. It's called Baby Geniuses.
I never saw the movie. I was busy raising my babies at the time, so I'm just saying.
I was still a baby at that time. You know, what did you think?
I'm
gonna pick number 2 just for fun.
I'm gonna go with Tulsi Gabbard. Finally realized she's far too attractive.
Of course, you were gonna do something where it's
I'm
visual.
not saying Democratic
Jake.
women are ugly, but I'm just saying. And by the way, Kamala Harris is a baby boomer. People talk about how young she is. She's a baby boomer.
I thought
she
she's
just
a boomer?
turned 60 years old. She's a boomer.
Was a Gen Xer.
She was born in 1964. She's a boomer.
Stop it! I like boomers. I'm not a fan of Gen Xers.
Oh. The Zoomer, no, Xers, that's the generation after me. I stand corrected.
Us,
yes,
we can both equally hate on them.
Well,
Gen Xers, you latchkey kids, will equally hate on you.
Well, that's going to wrap up our top headlines of the week, people. More satire next time.
All right. Well, if you do enjoy our content, please follow us at rumble.com/Freedom Project. Now, for Jake and myself, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting what we do. Until next time, stay educated.